Okay, so we're going to start off today trying to get a little bit of expansion into our back. When I say that, I mean being able to manage our air and the way that we position our body. So I'll talk the why after the class. I'll do a second post after the class about the importance of this particular posterior expansion, okay? But essentially, when we stay very pulled back this way, or we're down here, and then we flare our rib cage forward, we end up being really compressed in our back. So what we want to do is open up the back and anchor down at the front, not really just so much the core, but really being able to orient our body so that the air pressure is actually first in the internal system, and then the musculoskeletal system is secondary. So we're going to start off. It's really, really helpful for shoulder pain, elbow pain, neck pain, that stiff tightness that we get between our shoulder blades. So we're going to really work on getting away from those aches. Okay, so first of all, we're going to do something called the inverted rock back. Okay, so if you don't have a step, then just stack up a couple of books or so, like maybe 3 or 4 books. Okay, so if you grab those, I'm actually going to have my elbows on a block because my step is a little bit high, but I want it for that later. So okay, so then you're going to keep your knees underneath your hips, bring your elbows to the floor with your palms facing up, okay? Breathe out, get your low ribs up. So you can see that I've not just rounded my back, but it has had this effect of creating more space in the back, okay? So with each breath, I'm going to breathe out and compound that connection of the ribs. I'm breathing into my upper back. Excuse me. So 5 breaths. One more breath. Fantastic. Okay, and now we're going to do kind of an extension of this exercise that we call the drunk bear, okay? So now we're going to unlevel one leg. So we put the left knee on a block, okay? And we come down onto the left elbow, tuck the ribs, and push your right arm off to the side. So essentially what you're doing is you're pushing yourself back off your right side onto your left side, okay? I'm going to bring my ribs in, and you'll really feel this opening up this left side. One more breath. Okay, just sit up for a second. Okay, hands together. You're going to reach forward. Pull the shoulders back, open them out. I'm just going to sit down on my heels. And as your arms come up, I want you to think about what your shoulder blades are doing. So you can see that I'm using my abs a little bit here to keep my low ribs anchored, okay? shoulder blades coming back round. So we really want to get this movement going on with our shoulder blades as we move. So just getting a feel of that. And if it pinches or it tweaks around the joint initially, come out as if you're coming out in for a cuddle, okay? So your arms are a little bit forward, then we're working more the anatomical angle of the joint, okay? So rounding up, coming back. Rounding up, we're really letting the shoulder blades move on the rib cage. Okay, one more. So it's like we're going around the edges of a massive beach ball. Okay. Right, we're going to get our bands, okay? And I'm going to move this off to the side from this one. I'm going to bring my bench over. So this could work for you. Maybe you can just seated on a cushion. Great. Okay, so coming forward, you can use like a door handle where you tie your band onto the door handle and you're moving away in the most secure point. So you're moving at an angle with it, okay? Or if you're doing this in the gym, great, you'll have loads of anchor points to use there, okay? So I've got quite a big resistance here because I want to get this little bit of a core challenge because obviously the band is pulling me back. I don't want to do that to resist it. I'm staying anchored in my seat bones. I'm strongly feeling my heels on the ground and my low ribs are engaged down. I'm going to breathe in as I come away and breathe out as I come back. We're going to do that for 5 and then we're going to swap our breathing around. Okay, and I want you to come up. You're aiming for so as long as the band's not pinging away, you almost want to be at nipple level. I'll go down my breathing the other way. Let me focus for a minute. Great. Okay, now you're going to breathe out to go forward and breathe in to come back. And you should feel that gives you a little bit of a lift in your upper ribs with your breath moving that way. The straighter the back of your wrist can be with your forearm, the better. Better on your wrist. Last one. Great. Okay. And now we're going to turn it around. I'm going to move this a little bit more out the way. I'm going to bring my step back. I'm just going to use this other band. Put that down there 1 second. Okay. And we're going to do what I call chest pulls. Oh, we need to be closer. Okay, so the idea is, again, get your seat on the bench, anchor your ribs, okay, and you're pulling backwards to your chest. So I'm going to hold with my fists facing each other on the inside. So quite often when we see somebody doing face pulls or chest pulls in the gym, or even lat pull downs, there's a really big arch in the back. Now, the lats are great for actually assisting that movement. But here we really want to focus on getting those low ribs down, okay? So we're keeping that connection and we're getting the shoulder blades to move on a nice integrated rib cage. That's the key with this. It's not so much that we want to lose that bit, because we can still have that if we get our ribs down, but we're going to do it a little bit step at a time, okay? So the key thing with this is that in order for the shoulder blade to move really nicely on the back of the rib cage has to come to the shoulder blade, okay? Because our ribs can do that, right? But our shoulder blade is always like this. So we really want to get that and get that congruence, and then the shoulder blade can slide really nicely on the ribs. That's the key that we're looking for, okay? So that's what we're doing here. Okay, so fists facing each other, ribs down, feel the ground with your heels, and pull. Now, I love these movements. I could just kind of do this all day, or I would make you do this all day. If you want to bring it up and do another set, you're welcome to kind of bring it up and do more of a face pull, because that kind of brings this movement a little bit higher, okay? Right. Okay, I'm gonna get my band back again, and we're gonna do just some tricep kickbacks. Okay, when we go through this round, we're gonna start back from the beginning. So I'm gonna go this way here. Okay, so the idea here again, so nice neutral pelvis, okay? Get those ribs down. Elbow stays at your side, and you're gonna kick back. Try and keep the weight pretty heavily on that the front leg that's stabilizing the band. So it's the opposite foot to the working arm. Brilliant. Okay, that was 10. We're going to go to the other side. I'm going to swap sides so that you can see that side too. Another absolutely beautiful day here in Oxford. Okay, fantastic. Well done. I'm just going to dump that right there. Okay, so we've really got everything working at the back there. We're going to have an extra little challenge. If you've got a lightweight, even a can of beans will be fine for this, because this is really about getting that scapular movement again. And whatever you're sitting on, I want you to get this sense of having something else in front of it to push your heels into, okay? So you're really anchoring through the back of the hamstring here, ribs down. And what we're aiming for is to move in that same anatomical angle of the joint, so about 45 degrees as if you're going in for a cuddle, okay, but without letting the ribs come up. And we can do this without the weight. We can do this just with a foam roller on the wall. But I feel like the weight gives you that extra bit of information about what's going on when you load something more. If you feel your shoulder blade winging at the back, you really want to do a couple of breaths into that point where your lower shoulder blade meets the rib cage. Oh, it's so much harder. Great. Okay, and the other side. That's the joy of starting with your left side. For me, it's my weak side. So. Well done. Okay, so we're going to go through that round again. Okay, we're going to bring the step back round, whatever you're using. We're going to do an inverted rock back, get the air into our back. Okay, where's my... This is what works for me. And you kind of want to keep your hips above your knees, but you can have your elbows actually quite close so that your elbows are closer than your shoulders so that you get this space in your upper back. Palms facing the ceiling. And if when you're in this position, you're struggling to get the breath in, lift your head slightly so that you're extending through your neck. It'll give you more space. Drop your head back down for that out breath. Brilliant. Keep your block. Move your little step to the side. Okay. The block under your left knee. Left elbow down, pushing off your right hand extended out. Okay. Getting the air into your back. Really getting onto that left side. One more breath. Fantastic. Okay. Doing really well. I bet you're really feeling your shoulders and your arms working up. Okay, we're going to go back to the chest push. Okay, let me just move this out of the way. Let's move that over to there. Okay, getting my band. Feeling my sit bones on the chair, feeling my heels on the ground, anchoring down with those low ribs. out there, breathing out. So we swap our breathing. Letting those upper ribs come up. Now that I've done everything else and I'm on my second round, this is much easier. And I can maintain the band at the height that I'm more comfortable with to do the work that I want to do. So don't always think that your second round is going to be harder just because you're doing more. Quite often our first round is really warms us up, fires up the right nerves to connect with the muscles and starts to integrate the movement. The blood's flowing better. Actually, your second round is the sweet spot round. Okay. Then we did the pulls. I'm gonna bring this back. Oops. You know what? And while my band is off, and you're probably feeling the same way, let's do the triceps. That makes much more sense, doesn't it? Much more sense, Frank. Okay. Ribs down, nice neutral pelvis, elbow to your side. You want to keep that shoulder blade back. So if you're feeling like you're dumping forward every time to get movement, give yourself a little bit more slack. Probably a little bit too much. Right. And again, think rib cage into the shoulder blade. All right, swap sides. I'm terrible at counting. It will never change. I've always been this way in classes. It's just the way it is. Okay. Oh, this side's weaker. Okay. And then we're going to do the face pulls. Come on. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Fists to each other. Awesome. Okay, and for the ribs dissociation. I'm going to show you, so the second round one, I'm going to show you the one on the wall using a foam roller. So yeah, I'm going to move it quite far over. I might end up needing to. Okay, so you're starting off, hand on the foam roller. Oh, pushing it up. So you're thinking about going up and at an angle. Nice breath in, get the ribs back. One more. And that's just a really nice way to start getting the feel of that movement. Oh, I need to do the other side. Other side. Two sides. Let's just get rid of the picture for a moment. And it's okay if you need to keep adjusting the foam roller. Remember, as you breathe in, bringing the rib cage onto the back of the, well, the front of the shoulder blade. Okay. Fantastic. Let's get that way up. It's going to be skew with now, isn't it? Beautiful. Okay. Right, we've got 5 minutes left. So we are going to do a little bit of bridging and then activating the back of the legs and the feet. Okay, so I really want to start getting this integration of the legs and the feet. So if you were in yesterday's class, let me ankle. Yes. That'll do it. If you were in yesterday's class, we did the posterior pelvic tilt. Okay, so we're getting this sense of really anchoring down with the heels. Drop the low ribs. You can reach your arms so that you can feel that expansion in your back. Okay, and you're going to lift your bum just like an inch. Okay, and then really drive the pelvis into this tuck. Okay, so as if you're like flattening your back to the ground, but this isn't coming from your back. This is coming from your pelvis and particularly your hamstrings, okay? So I'm anchored to my heels, I'm tucking my pelvis and letting it go. Tucking my pelvis, letting it go, tuck. Okay, you can go up into a bridge and down, and tuck and up into a bridge and down, tuck, bridge, down, tuck, bridge, down. 2 more. Great. Okay, move a little bit closer to the wall. So you're like on the wall, okay? I want you to feel like your heels are right against it and you're pulling your heels down the wall. So again, it really activates these upper hamstrings. You get this little bit of a tuck on the pelvis, not too much because you'll go away and you'll end up in your lumbar spine. We want this to stay in the pelvis and particularly where the pelvis is connected into the back of the thighs through the top of the hamstring. Okay, so this is really our focus point. Fab. Okay, so we're going to start off both feet together. You're just going to do this, lifting your heels off the wall. Keep your tuck. Okay, you can bring your legs up a little bit higher if it feels kind of too easy. If you want to up the ante a little bit, bring your legs up higher. Okay, don't lose your tuck, but don't let it come into your lumbar spine. Okay, feel like you're getting that traction down the wall. And you'll probably really feel your calves here as well. You can take this up a little bit, like to straighten one leg, and just use the other. Feeling that traction down the wall, feeling the tuck in the pelvis just a little bit off the ground. Really accentuate that tuck down, lifting the heel. Come on, little foot, wake up. Okay, swap sides. Okay, one thing I'll say is when you feel these activations in the back of your leg, you can stretch your calves, but like everybody's always stretching their hamstrings, and we overstretch our hamstrings. It's actually about integrating the right amount of strength into our hamstrings and then getting the kind of pliability and the responsiveness in the tissue. It's not so much about stretching it out. It's a really important muscle to anchor us. So when we overstretch, which is really easy to do from the top, then we lose that anchoring aspect, okay? So let's just go one little note. Okay, this is the one I call pressure brake, okay? So our feet are on the wall, and I want you just to lift your heel ever so slightly, okay? So this heel now lifted ever so slightly, traction down on the wall, and I want you to feel like you're crushing a grape under your big toe. Take your knee out to the side. You're still slightly lifted here in your bum. And like it can take quite a while. Let's go to the other side. It can take quite a while, like my left foot's much worse, to feel like you've got any range of movement. But it's better. I have been working on it and it's paying off. Really feeling that contact of that big toe pad as you bring the leg out. You can see this leg gets much shakier. Fab. Okay, right. I'm going to get you to come into bridges. So we're staying up here, coming up into a bridge and down, really keeping the contact of the whole foot now on the wall. Okay, if you feel your pelvis is aching a little bit, pop the block, move your feet a bit closer and squeeze, and do it this way. So you just slightly change the information that your pelvis is getting. Effectively, this opens up the back and lets the sacrum move a bit more as we go through this range of movement. But if you're not getting that, it's quite good to just focus on your feet and then the lift through here. Okay, doing great. Last thing. We're going to do some extension because all of that tucking down with our ribs can make our back feel like it's too round, and we want to make sure that we keep the extension in our back as well. Okay. So, hands down by your side, okay? You're going to lift your whole rib cage up. So, lifting through your sternum. So I'm there. Yep, I haven't gone straight up into an arch. I've lifted this top bit. Okay, and then pushing off my hands. So we're gradually getting this extension in the back, okay? Elbows stay tucked in, shoulder blades right down my back. So I'm not up here to get my push, okay? And especially coming back to the floor, same thing. You don't want to kind of push up and then do that to come down. Keep it down. Keep this kind of anchoring here so that you stay really connected through this. Because if you're coming up and down and you're just flaring here, you've lost some of that connection and you're hinging on the joints in your spine. 2 more. Great. Pushing up. If you're next to the wall, let your heels contact into the wall. Nice downward dog. 3 little steps forward. Tuck your ribs and just try and lengthen your calves there. So really this is about doing a calf stretch, and especially on the right. Sorry, on the left, because it's a little bit closer. Great job! Thanks for being with me in this session. I'll see you next time.